Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Lecture number 1, initiating instruction for completing the project charter template. We'll start lecture number 1 with project charter template. First, we have to know some definitions and some points about the project charter. First, we'll talk about the purpose of the project charter. It serves several purposes. Number one, it's a sales tool for you to use to convey the importance of your project to the project selection team. Number two, it's a planning tool that help the project selection team decide which project will be most beneficial in meeting the organization's strategic goal. Number three, it is an analysis tool to assist you in identifying critical information needed to ensure the success of your project. Number four, it is a communication tool that facilitates consistent building with all stakeholders in the project. Number five, it provides an authorization mechanism that the executive committee can use to formally recognize your project. Assigned charter authorizes the project team to begin work on the project. Number six, it documents all steps taken that lead to approval or denial the charter. The basics to do the project charter: project selection team evaluation and executive committee approval will be based upon information contained within the charter. Therefore, it's imperative that this document has sufficient detail for both executive committee and the project selection team to evaluate the benefits and the cost of the project. However, no individual selection of the charter itself. As we see here, this example for the project charter will go through point by point, but first we have to know general information about the project. First we have to know the project name, department, sponsor. For example, what department is the primary proponent of this project? Which department requests the project charter? You have to type the full name of the project sponsor. For example, inspection department. Who within the department? We have to know who within the department is a project sponsor. This individual sponsoring the project. The person must be decision maker with the authority to committee department resource. Third thing we have to know, is this an enterprise project? If this project will impact 3 or more departments, then it is considered to be enterprise in scope. Special project selection and oversight provision may apply. Then we have to know department co-sponsor. We have to know the name of the other departments, individual, and their contact information. We'll talk also about project rank. When departments submit more than one charter for consideration for given 5 scale year, assign a rank order to each project code, and the code the most important as 1, then 2, 3, 4, and so on. This will help the project selection team to know which are most important to your department. And please note, in 2 year budget cycle, you may submit projects for both fiscal years. Rank projects for each fiscal year separately. For example, from 2005 to 2006, rank the projects 1 through 5, and rank the project beginning in 2006 to 2007 as 1 through 5. We have to know also mandated project. Project may be mandated by legislation, organization policy change, adoption of new standard or other reasons. If the project is mandated, indicate by whom. Also state the consequence of not meeting the mandate. Here, as we see, you have to follow this information, this template for the project charter. Here, the document number we have to give for at least 4 number for the project. Document number version, it's 2 digit, print date when we issue the charter. This is the number of the page. Let's talk about version. Version, each major change of the charter should have a unique version number. For example, 1.0 is the initial version sent to the project selection team, VST. Version number 2.0 contains the VST changes. Version number 3.0 contain IT review changes, and we'll follow this revision. After each modification, we have to change the version. Then we'll come here. This is the project. We have to write the project name created by this who creates the project charter, or the author. Type the name of the individual who drafted the charter. This may not be the name of the individual who typed it into the electronic format. This is the date created. This phone number and the email for the created person. We have to know the reason for a change. Enter the reason for any change. For example, we make draft number 1. In draft number 2, we have to write why we issue draft number 2. Here, the mission, first part, it is the mission. The mission is talk about the instruction, expand all rows as necessary to include your text. You may also want to replace the key consulting logo with the project logo. Not all sections listed here may be needed on a particular project. There may be also items you need to include that are not included here. Many of these items listed will be visited in more details when you start planning. Sure, the objective of the charter is to document the information as it is known at the beginning of the project, not get into the planning itself. Delete the blue instruction text as you move through the form. We have to delete this one when we start the example. The mission or goal for the project should be documented in this row. What is a project? First, we'll go to the objectives. Um, First two items, mission and objectives. Formation or project purpose or business justification. You have to describe the purpose of this project in a way that will grab the attention of the project selection team or the executive committee. The charter should make them aware of the true impact that this project can have on the organization. For example, to produce a disaster recovery plan that protects and maintains the technical infrastructure that support organization function in the event of a disaster. Objectives. Why it's important to achieve the project mission. We have to explain. And what do you hope to achieve by executing the project. Objectives are measurable goals of the project and typically deal with cost, time, and quality. For example, effort needed to process employee time will be reduced from 200 hours a pay period to 30 hours, or the organization will save $200,000 in the first full year of implementation. This example for the objectives that company will save a lot of money or from this project charter, and what we will get from the project. We come to next point, deliverables. What will the project actually produce? What is the product? This should measurable items also. Deliverables address the project planning, project implementation, and the project closure. They are the artifacts used to determine the successful of the project. Deliverable can be hardware or software or documents used through the project life cycle. Examples are requirements document, a request for proposal, RFP, a test plan, an implementation plan, a website, and user training or user documentation. And please note the deliverable list within the charter shouldn't exceed 1 page in length. For the large or complex project list, high level we have to high level deliverables as a bolted list and attached deliverable addendum with as many details as are needed if needed. We have to take care some points in deliverables. Clear statement. Number one, clear statement of what this project will not include. For example, phase number one of the business continuation plan project will include an analysis of how best to back up and secure all data on the servers, but will not include consideration of data held on user systems such as laptops. Number two, project milestone. The purpose, start and end dates of project phase, for example, inception, planning, construction, testing, and deployment, and other major milestone. For large and or complex project list high level milestone as a bolted list and attach a milestone addendum with many details as our needs. Major known risks including sufficient assumption. Risk is anything that could cause a project to fail, and we'll talk about risks here also. Um, Risk can be internal, things that the project team can control, for example, lack of expertise, or external, for example, outside of organization control. Same vendor cannot deliver equipment on time, which risks are likely to affect the project, including any other possible source. I will talk about risk when we reach in this point. Let's back here to stakeholder. What is the meaning of stakeholder? Stakeholder is who will be on the team, who is the project sponsor, what other stakeholders have already been identified, including contact information if possible for each stakeholder. Stakeholder is everyone who's affecting the project and project progress. Let's start with project manager. Project manager is the individual from either the business side or the IT department who will coordinate the project team and see that the project stays on track. The project manager may also be either the business lead or the technical lead. If he's a technical lead, the technical lead is the individual from the IT department with the technical expertise to ensure successful project. If business lead, the business lead is the individual with the business expertise need to ensure successful of the project. And the other stakeholder, we have to list it in any individual for all other departments who have primary interest in the project or he will affect in the project add or add something in the project. If there are more stakeholders, then we will fit the space provided in, and we have to put their information in the notes, and as we say, the contact information. One of the stakeholder, the vendor, so we have also to keep the vendor contacts and keep it in one row for each primary contact from all vendor individual in the project. These may include representative from the software vendor, installation, for example, commercial of the shelf cost application. Next point, roles and responsibilities. We have to ask some question. For example, are there some roles or responsibilities that need to be clarified now before the detailed planning begins? Are you clear on your responsibilities as a project manager? As we talked before about the project manager role, and everyone in the project should know his role, technical, business side, each department manager and employee should know his role and responsibility, and we should mention in this part and keep it clear for everyone. High level work breakdown structure. This means how will the project begin structured at a high level. Yeah, for example, some also external dependencies. If success of this project is depend on other individual, for example, organization, department, or external entities, we have to list them and include the name and contact information for them, and everyone should know his role and his responsibility. Have here a high level work breakdown instruction. How will the project begin structure at high level? How does this project fit in with the organization? A long term strategy. For example, the installation of web portal is the first step toward to establish the organization as a leader in its class, and we have to do the breakdown structure for the high level assumption. This means what high level assumptions have already been made about the project. Any assumption done for the project, for example, estimation of the total cost of ownership. We can say, and for example, if I scale 5 years, if it will take 5 years, select the and insert the 5 scale years, follow 2005, 2006, and 2006 up to 2007, 2007, 2008, and we have to follow the direction on the form to get the total. We have assumption, for example, for the total cost or the capital cost. We have to enter the total cost of getting the project up and running. It could include cost of hardware or purchase software, programming cost, salaries, operational cost. This is a maintenance cost, would include ongoing license fees or maintenance fees. We have to put any assumption for the project in this part as communication. What will be the main channel of communications? Do you anticipate any communication problems that should be clarified there? How often will the team